Hello everybody and welcome to our latest video.
Today we're going to hear the story about Jesus and the breakfast on the beach.
Jesus has breakfast on the beach. This story is from Luke chapter 21 verses 1 to 14. One day, Simon Peter was out with his friends at Lake Tiberias near the Sea of Galilee, and he decided he would go fishing. "We will come with you," his friends said. So off they went. They sailed out on a boat and gathered their fishing gear. After they had sailed for a while, they slung their nets out, ready to catch some fish. A couple of hours later, Simon Peter pulled his net back in, and there were no fish at all. His friends tugged at their nets too, and when they pulled them back into the boat, there was not one fish, none at all. This continued all night. It seemed a very long night, and they were by now feeling angry and upset. As the sun rose, a figure on the beach shouted to the men in the boat, "Haven't you caught anything?" The friends shouted back, "No, nothing." The figure shouted again, "Try casting your nets out to the right-hand side instead. You will catch some." The fishermen threw out their nets, this time to the other side, and right away they felt pulling and tugging and had to help each other to keep hold of the nets. In no time at all, their nets were so full that they could hardly pull them back in. They couldn't believe it. One of them peered into the distance, back towards the beach, and said, "It's him! It's the Lord!" When Peter heard this, he couldn't wait a moment longer. He immediately jumped into the water to get to Jesus as quickly as he could. The disciples followed with their boat and the large catch of fish. When they arrived on the beach, they could see that Jesus had a charcoal fire going, with some fish cooking above it, and some bread all set up ready for breakfast. Jesus said, "Bring some of the fish that you have caught." They dragged the full net ashore, and out fell 153 fish. Jesus set about cooking the fish for breakfast for his friends, and served it to them along with some lovely fresh bread. What a special breakfast that must have been, cooked by Jesus.
I love telling that story. Here are my Open the Book team acting it out in a school assembly.
So, we've heard the story about how Jesus prepared a wonderful breakfast of fresh fish on the beach for his disciples. So, we thought we'd get up early and have a wonderful breakfast of fresh fish outside ourselves.
So we're not by the beach, living where we do, but we have got a beach hut in our garden. And I've been busy baking some fresh bread so we can have a little taste of what it might have been like for Jesus and those disciples. It really does smell lovely. You can imagine what it would have been like for those fishermen who'd been out all night with a long, hard night, and then to come back to the smell of this on the shore. Lovely. The fish that Jesus most likely cooked would have been a tilapia. The ones we're using today, sea bream, are similar. Okay, I'm going to try it. It's not my usual breakfast, but it's nice.
Well, that's really nice. I can see why the disciples are so pleased.
It's pretty good.
Actually, I think I'll just stick to the bread and butter.
I just took a big bite out of this and it tasted just like the sea. It was really amazing.
Handprint fish. Draw around your hand on some coloured paper. Cut it out, decorate it, and stick on a googly eye.
Can you remember any special meals you've had with your friends? Here we are, out celebrating one of Dylan's birthdays with all his family. That was a great meal and very memorable. Food is very important within the Methodist Church, and we often share food with our church families. After every service, most churches serve refreshments, and it's a time to catch up with others and to share news. Within our circuit, we have 2 regular breakfast church services at Pelsall and Brownhills. Here, we get together before the service to share breakfast, just like Jesus shared with his disciples on the beach. We may not have barbecued fish, but we usually have bacon rolls, croissants, toast and jam, fruit juice, tea and coffee. Just as Jesus served his friends and washed their feet in Holy Week and said, "I have set an example for you so that you will do just what I have done for you," we as a church set an example for all of God's children by serving others and providing nourishment for their bodies as well as their minds. If you haven't been yet to one of these breakfast church services, we would definitely recommend coming along and trying out this informal style of worship. There's usually lots of modern worship songs, some craft, creative prayer styles, and it's always very family friendly. And now, let us pray.
For those swimming in the sea of confusion or uncertainty of these new times.
For those caught up in the net of illness.
For those who have swum through the rapids and have come out the other side to much calmer waters, let us all have hope for the future.
For those casting their nets for little gain. For small businesses and for those furloughed.
For those little fish hiding under the rocks. For those of us with family members we've not seen for many days, and face not seeing for many more days still. Know that you are with us on that seabed, under that rock, and within our homes.
For those lifeboats out in the storm, for the people who are providing life-saving procedures, and for those who help us to keep some sort of normality in our lives.
For better days ahead, let us all have hope for the future. Amen.
Amen.